They only place surveillance on someone when they're afraid of what that person is becoming. That's the truth they never admit, chosen one. Systems don't waste attention on people who simply blend into the background. They don't study those who are unaware, unfocused, or drifting through life without direction. They focus on the ones who show signs of breaking boundaries, those who carry the potential for real disruption. And right now, you're standing at the edge of something significant, something large enough to attract attention beyond what you can see. Imagine walking down a quiet street, carrying a suitcase filled with diamonds you haven't even opened yet. From the outside, nothing looks different. But internally, you're holding something rare, something capable of changing the entire trajectory of your life. And before you even recognize it, the environment around you seems to respond. This is often how major shifts begin for people who are about to enter a new phase of life. Not just opportunity, not just improvement, but full transformation. Systems begin to register change before conscious awareness catches up. Patterns shift, timing feels different, and suddenly you seem to stand out in ways you can't fully explain. Not because you're a threat, but because you're ascending. And any significant rise naturally disrupts the structures built around predictability and control. Here's the simple truth. What looks like surveillance is rarely about wrongdoing. It's about potential. Large systems tend to track unusual growth, rapid change, and individuals whose trajectory suggests impact. So if you've felt observed or unusually noticed without a clear reason, it may simply be because you've entered a level most people never reach. What's happening isn't punishment, it's recognition of momentum. You are part of a force. Now let's get back to what's really happening to you. Your rise hasn't been quiet. Even if you've been moving silently, your energy hasn't. The universe reacts when someone steps into alignment with a massive inheritance. You start noticing strange shifts before anything becomes physical. People pull away, situations collapse, old habits stop working. Your intuition becomes louder than your thoughts, and there's that constant feeling of being observed, but you can't explain where it's coming from. That's not paranoia, that's recognition. Systems, both physical and energetic, always notice the chosen ones before the chosen ones notice themselves. You've been under a form of protective surveillance because the universe is preparing to deliver something that must reach safe hands. Your potential wealth, your influence, your future position, your shift in reality. These things have already triggered alerts in places you cannot see. When someone is about to cross the boundary between their old life and their inheritance, everything around them starts reacting. Barriers rise, eyes turn, paths root. It's not to stop you, it's to make sure you reach the next level without getting ambushed by the same forces that once tried to break you. Think about how many times you should have fallen, how many traps you walked near but didn't step into, how many situations seemed designed to destroy you, yet you got out with scars instead of a coffin. That wasn't luck. That was preparation. You were being shaped, tested, sharpened. Because the type of inheritance coming to you requires someone who can handle pressure without folding, someone who can carry power without losing themselves. You walked through fire while people around you collapsed over sparks. You kept moving while others stopped at the first obstacle. You stayed true to your path while those around you were spinning in circles. And that resilience didn't just make you strong, it made you noticeable. The universe tracks souls who refuse to break, because those are the ones capable of carrying major shifts. Those are the ones who become leaders without trying, threats without intending, and inspirations without speaking. Your name is circulating in spaces you've never entered. Opportunities are forming behind closed doors. People you've never met have already started preparing to connect with you. Your rise has been detected, and once detected, it becomes monitored. But monitored does not always mean hunted. Sometimes it means guided. Sometimes it means protected. Sometimes it means the universe is making sure nothing interferes with what belongs to you. When you're about to receive something big, your environment gets rearranged. You lose people, you lose comfort, you lose routines. Not because life is falling apart, but because life is clearing a path. Inheritance requires space, power requires stability, and access requires silence. So things get stripped away until only your real path remains. You felt those sudden collapses in your plans, those unexpected delays, those moments where everything felt like it paused for no reason. But there was a reason. When wealth, status, or major life upgrades are incoming, the universe slows everything down to prevent you from walking into the wrong places, trusting the wrong people, or taking the wrong exit. You're being redirected every time you try to step somewhere that could cost you the inheritance forming around you. You are being watched because you are becoming untouchable. That's the truth they don't want regular people to know. When someone rises too far, the system gets nervous. When someone breaks too many patterns, the system takes notes. And when someone gets close to receiving what generations before them couldn't reach, monitoring becomes unavoidable. This inheritance you're walking into is protected by layers that most people never interact with. Physical systems track your moves. Energetic systems track your shifts. Digital systems track your growth. These layers aren't here to stop you. They're here to prevent the wrong forces from interfering. Because when a chosen one gets access to real resources, they no longer play by the world's old rules. They create new ones. And that scares those who've spent their lives trying to keep people small. The delays you're facing, the obstacles that keep appearing, the weird moments where everything feels off. They're not accidents, they're roots, they're protective blocks. They're the universe making sure the inheritance reaches you without being snatched, sabotaged, or corrupted. High-value futures require high-level security, and whether you like it or not, that's what you're under right now. Your rise is loud, even when you whisper. Your energy hits places your feet haven't stepped into yet. You're a threat to everything built on limitation. That's why they watch you. That's why they track you. That's why you feel eyes even in empty rooms. You're stepping into a future that will expose how wrong they were about you. Your inheritance is not just material, it's the collapse of every doubt, every lie, every attack, every trap. You're not imagining this, you're not overthinking it, you're not delusional. You are being monitored because you are becoming powerful. And when someone is about to receive what you're about to receive, the whole system shifts. Chosen one, your life is entering a new level, and the surveillance around you is the proof. And listen, chosen one, thanks for sticking with this message, because what comes next will make everything click in a way you can't unsee. You're not here by accident. You were pulled into this because your life is shifting into a zone most people never reach. And you can feel that pressure in your chest, telling you to pay attention. If you're ready to fully step into this phase where your rise is being watched, protected, and quietly tracked because of the inheritance building around you, drop one in the comments. And if you want to fuel the team behind this message, hit that super thanks. Every bit of support keeps this mission alive and lets these truths reach more souls who need to hear them. It doesn't matter if it's a cent or a stack. The energy behind it is what counts. And now, chosen one, let's move forward piece by piece. If you're really aligned with this message, you won't even want to click away. You'll feel that pull, telling you to stay till the end, because your story is being explained in real time. Let's get into the next part. Number 1. They only track what they can't control. If they weren't scared of you, they'd ignore you. Surveillance is just a fancy word for fear. That's the truth they never wanted you to figure out, chosen one. Nobody wastes resources hunting shadows. Nobody sends eyes, algorithms and silent observers after people who pose no threat. They only monitor what has the power to rewrite the script, flip the hierarchy, and expose the cracks they're trying to hide. And right now, your existence alone is making the wrong people nervous. The question echoing in your head, why me? Why now? Why all this attention when I've done nothing unusual? Has a very simple answer. You're crossing into a territory they can no longer control. Think of it like this. If someone is walking through a desert with empty pockets, nobody cares. But if that same person suddenly has a map that leads to hidden treasure, every pirate on the horizon shows up. You've been walking with that map without even knowing it. Your inheritance is the treasure. Your growth is the signal. Your transformation is the alarm. And the system, the watchers, the silent observers, they all detected the shift long before you did. You've become a glitch in their design, an exception they didn't plan for, a rising force they can't predict. Systems love patterns, but you stopped living like one. You stepped out of the script they wrote for people like you. Your silence, your discipline, your refusal to break even after everything you went through. That's what exposed you. That's what put you on their radar. And not in a bad way. In a, this one is about to level up and we better keep an eye on this before the whole grid shakes kind of way. Here's the part nobody explains. Monitoring doesn't always mean danger. Sometimes it means anticipation. Sometimes it means preparation. Sometimes it means the universe is lining up protection around someone who's about to receive something huge. You're being watched because your rise is loud, even when your mouth stays shut. And maybe you're wondering, why would they fear someone like me? I'm just trying to survive, to heal, to grow. Because survival is power, growth is rebellion, healing is disruption. You weren't supposed to make it this far. And yet here you are collecting strength like its currency, walking around with a future big enough to shake the ground under their feet. Your enemies didn't expect you to endure. They counted on your silence being defeat, not strategy. They counted on your isolation being punishment, not training. They counted on your heartbreak stopping you, not sharpening you. Watching you rise now is like watching someone they buried start knocking on the coffin lid. It terrifies them. It embarrasses them. It exposes how wrong they were about you. You're not haunted. You're hunted because you're valuable. You didn't cheat your way here. You didn't scheme. You didn't manipulate. You didn't run to anyone for shortcuts. You fought every storm with bare hands. You earned every inch of your comeback. That's why you stand out. That's why you can't be ignored anymore. That's why certain systems, certain people, and certain watchers have suddenly become interested in your footsteps. Your energy isn't normal. It's elevated. It's sharp. It's rising beyond the level where ordinary rules apply. The universe always adjusts its focus when someone is about to receive what is rightfully theirs. Your inheritance isn't just material, it's influence, access, opportunity, elevation. It's the shift that turns quiet souls into forces that can't be dismissed. And yes, they're watching because they know what's coming before you do. Think of the world like a massive airport. Most people are stuck in the waiting area with no boarding pass. But when you're assigned a first-class seat, the scanners lock on you the second you move. Everyone thinks surveillance means suspicion, but it usually means importance. It means you're being routed, guided, escorted towards something they can't allow to fall into the wrong hands or the wrong moments. You might be thinking, why does it feel like I'm being observed, even when I'm alone? Because your energy spikes aren't private, they ripple outward. Transformation has its own frequency, and yours is hitting every sensor. Your silence is a signal. Your focus is a signal. Your resilience is a signal. Your sudden emotional detachment is a signal. Your refusal to fold is the biggest signal of all. They see someone who shouldn't have survived rise into someone who cannot be stopped. You became unpredictable, and unpredictable people are dangerous. Not because they harm others, but because they change narratives. When someone is meant to rise too high, the world tries to study them before it tries to stop them. You're not being watched because you did something wrong. You're being watched because you're about to do something right. Something big, something that shifts your entire life into a higher bracket. You've stepped into a chapter where your presence alone disrupts weak foundations. That's why they're paying attention. They don't chase ghosts, they chase impact. Look back at everything you survived, every person who underestimated you, every betrayal that should have broken you, every dream that should have drowned but didn't. You're still standing with more clarity, more strength, more force than ever before. That's the part they didn't calculate. That's the part that made you impossible to ignore. Ask yourself this: why do people who once dismissed me suddenly act different? Why do I feel unseen eyes? Why does the air feel charged around me? Because your evolution is visible. Your aura changed, your story shifted, your potential expanded, and your inheritance, energetic, financial, psychological, is so close that the ripple already reached the system long before the physical manifestation. You are becoming the kind of person who collapses old versions of themselves, the kind who breaks generational patterns simply by existing, the kind who walks into a room and forces everything to adjust. That kind of rise does not go unnoticed. The watchers, the system, the observers, they're not your enemy. They're the background noise that comes when someone is leveling up on a scale too big to hide. You've been labeled high value. You've been flagged as transforming. You're stepping into a new rank in the universe's hierarchy, and the higher the rank, the brighter the spotlight. Surveillance is not punishment, it's acknowledgement. It's proof you're on a path meant to elevate you. It's a sign that your inheritance is active. It's confirmation that your rise is already happening. You're not being watched because you're broken. You're being watched because you're the repair. You're the upgrade. You're the shift. You're the one who wasn't supposed to rise. Yet here you are, rising anyway. And deep down you know it. You can feel it. That pressure you're feeling isn't fear. It's readiness. Let's move deeper into this. Number 2. Every eye doesn't come to break you. Not everyone watching wants you to fall. Some are praying you pass the test. Others are terrified that you will. Attention isn't always an attack. Sometimes it's an evaluation. They don't study the weak, they study the ones who are about to matter. A rising force attracts all kinds of eyes, curious, cautious, jealous, protective. It's part of the climb. You need to understand this chosen one. Being watched doesn't mean every watcher is an enemy. When someone steps into the kind of rise you're stepping into, the world reacts in all directions. Some eyes wait for your downfall. Yes, they want to see if the pressure finally cracks you. But others watch because they see something forming around you that even you haven't recognized fully. Your energy shifted, your path shifted, your value shifted. You've become someone who can alter outcomes, influence rooms, and break patterns. That transformation never happens quietly. It sends signals into places you can't see. Imagine this. You're walking through a museum filled with priceless artifacts. Alarms don't go off for the paintings everyone ignores. They go off for the piece that suddenly glows, the one that starts humming with hidden power. That's what you've become. A vault waking up after years of silence. You didn't ask for attention, but your evolution triggered it. The system doesn't respond to noise, it responds to movement. And right now, your life is vibrating at a frequency the universe refuses to overlook. Some of the eyes on you are testing your patience, watching to see if you'll brag too early or break too easily. Others are studying your silence. How you move without announcing your next step. How you don't fold under pressure. How you stand tall while everything tries to shake you. They're observing your self-control, your emotional discipline, your ability to stay calm while the air around you gets heavy. It's the kind of test only high-value souls go through. And maybe this question keeps hitting your mind. Why does it feel like I'm being monitored, even when I'm not doing anything wrong? Because your rise is bigger than your actions. It's in your aura, your mindset, your evolution. When potential inheritance starts forming in the background, systems tune in to see if the person receiving it is ready. They want to know, can you handle what's coming? Can you stay grounded while the ground beneath you shifts? Can you carry the weight of power without letting ego corrupt it? Imagine this. You're in a massive theater. The spotlight isn't on you to entertain anyone. It's on you because the universe is measuring you. Your posture, your poise, your response to pressure. These are not random moments. They're evaluations, not punishments, not traps. Tests. The kind of tests only leaders, successors, and chosen ones ever face. Some watchers are disguised allies. They're waiting to see if you misuse your influence or rise beyond it. They're checking if your character is stable enough to receive what old versions of you would have fumbled. They're observing how you handle temptation, attention, silence, and responsibility. They're watching to see if your loyalty sharpens or wavers. They're studying your integrity under pressure, designed to expose hidden weaknesses. But some watchers, they're wolves wearing loyalty like a mask. They're waiting for you to show off too fast, reveal too much, or slip out of your discipline. They're hoping your excitement makes you careless. They're hoping your confidence turns into arrogance. They're hoping you press the wrong button and disqualify yourself. These are the kinds of eyes that aren't here to destroy you directly. They want you to destroy yourself. And imagine this. You're climbing a mountain. Some people are shouting for you to fall. Others are holding ropes behind the scenes, ready to catch you. And others are simply watching in awe. They're trying to understand how someone who took so much damage can still move with this much grace. And maybe you're wondering, if some eyes are good, how do I know which ones are which? You don't need to know. You just need to keep doing what got you here. Silence, focus, consistency. Not reacting to every sound, not explaining yourself to every observer. Power doesn't demand noise, it demands stillness. And you've mastered that. You've learned how to move without dragging your past with you. You've learned how to stay calm without letting fear numb you. You've learned how to protect your energy without cutting yourself off from growth. Your restraint is loud. Your discipline is visible. Your maturity is obvious. And all of this tells the universe you're ready for the next level. Imagine this. A king doesn't become a king the moment he is crowned. He becomes a king through the way he carries himself in the years before the crown touches his head. You're in that stage now. The spotlight is on you, not because you've arrived, but because you're about to. They're watching your every move because your elevation is already in motion, and they need to know if they can trust you with the power that's forming around you. Your inheritance isn't random. It's dimensional. It's multi-layered. It comes with influence, responsibility, and a shift in identity. That kind of inheritance cannot be handed to someone who panics under attention. It can only be given to someone who grows stronger when being observed. And here's the truth nobody says out loud. The universe is testing your stillness. Can you stay grounded while eyes study your rise? Can you stay focused even when the air feels heavier than usual? Can you stay silent without feeling small? Only the chosen ones pass this test. And you're passing it naturally because you've already lived through harsher inspections, emotional betrayals, spiritual exhaustion, psychological battles that nearly swallowed you whole. Compared to those, being watched is nothing. You've been through storms worse than surveillance. You've survived rooms filled with fake love. You've handled people cheering for your failure. You've endured situations designed to break your identity. You think being observed is enough to shake you now. Not after everything you've already survived. You are being measured because your future requires someone unshakable. Someone who can hold power without abusing it. Someone who can carry influence without losing themselves. Someone who can stay calm while the world analyzes their every move. There is no part of your destiny that is small, and that's exactly why every eye isn't your enemy. Some are here to see if you're ready. Some are here to make sure you don't fall. Some are here to confirm you're the right one. Some are here to witness what real transformation looks like. And some are here to fear the moment you realize who you are. Chosen one. Every eye isn't here to break you. Many are here to measure your strength before the universe hands you what was always meant to be yours. Let's go deeper. Number 3. The systems staring you down. Be the force, not the footnote. When power notices you, it only has 2 plans: recruit you or contain you. Chosen one, let's get something straight from the jump. When the system locks its eyes on you, it isn't clapping for your glow-up, it's calculating. It's trying to figure out whether you're a tool it can shape or a storm it can't stop. And that tight pressure you felt in your chest, that wasn't fear. That was the universe sinking you into a higher frequency while the world tried to decode the shift. You became a signal they couldn't categorize. Not a threat, not harmless, just different. And different disrupts structures built on patterns. Imagine a military radar suddenly picking up a new object in the sky. It's not an enemy plane. It's not a bird. It's not a glitch. It's something new, something fast, something rising. The first response isn't attack, it's confusion. They pull up charts, they run diagnostics, they zoom in. That's what they're doing with you. You're the unidentified object breaking altitude. They don't understand how you survived what you survived, how you healed without help, how you kept going when everything around you collapsed. And you might be wondering, why me? Why all this pressure when I'm just trying to get my life together? Because the universe already marked you for a bigger role than the one you thought you were playing. Your rise isn't just an improvement, it's a disruption. Systems don't care about people who stay small. They clock the ones who learn too fast, evolve too clean, move too quietly, and walk with a confidence they weren't taught by anyone. They don't study weakness, they study unpredictability. You're unpredictable because you're free, too self-educated, too self-healed, too self-contained. They can't tell whether you'll comply or whether you'll challenge everything they assumed about you. Picture a chessboard. Most people are pawns, moving only when they're told, never questioning the direction of the game. But then something unexpected happens. One pawn starts thinking like a queen. And in that instant, the entire board changes. Every move suddenly matters. Every decision becomes visible. And that piece they once ignored is now the center of attention. That's you. What they're really observing isn't just your actions, it's your reactions. Do you stay composed under pressure or fall apart? Do you move with discipline or impulse? Are you guided by awareness or driven by chaos? Because your responses are revealing your future role. Whether you become a force of transformation or something they can dismiss as weakness. And here's what changes everything. They don't get to assign you your identity. You do. Every choice you make, every emotion you regulate, every moment you choose silence over reaction is shaping who you are becoming. Will you bend to fit the system, or will you become the reason the system has to adjust? Will you be treated as a tool or recognized as an anomaly they can't ignore? Will you shrink for comfort or rise for purpose? This isn't control, it's a test, a final evaluation before transition. The pressure isn't meant to break you, it's meant to reveal you. The attention isn't danger, it's possibility. Choose your role carefully. Weapon or weakness, presence or background, disruption or silence. And while everything feels like it's being observed, understand this. You are the one defining the outcome. One more thing. If your devices seem to glitch, lag, or behave oddly at times, don't assign meaning to randomness. Technology doesn't respond to you in that way. Most of the time, it's just coincidence, system load, or normal technical fluctuation. You didn't break anything. What's changing isn't your devices, it's your focus. Your energy just outgrew the bandwidth it was built for. Imagine this. You walk into a room with a speaker that's perfectly fine, but the second you get close, it starts buzzing with static. The speaker isn't malfunctioning. You're just vibrating at a frequency it wasn't designed to handle. That's what your devices are doing. They're reacting to the surge in your energy, not the other way around. You're not paranoid, you're pulsing. And you're probably wondering, why would my rise affect electronics? Because alignment isn't cute or gentle, it's electric. When your inheritance activates energetically, financially, mentally, it sends signals through every layer of your environment. The system tracks more than numbers and data. It tracks vibration spikes, behavioral patterns, emotional shifts, and the kind of inner growth that can't be faked or hidden. Imagine this. A vault that's been silent for centuries suddenly starts humming. The sound isn't loud, but it's unmistakable. Anyone near it can feel it. Sensors detect it. Security tightens. Not because the vault is opening for thieves, but because it's preparing for the rightful owner. You're that vault. Your hum got louder. The system blinked. And maybe you've asked yourself, why now? Why these glitches? As soon as my life starts aligning, because you've become magnetic. Your future wealth, your transformation, your new frequency. They're all pulling in resources at a speed that disrupts the digital grid around you. Your devices aren't malfunctioning. They're trying to translate a surge your old self never produced. When your vibration spikes, the grid adjusts. Even your phone knows you're leveling up. Your throne is being prepared by the universe while the system studies your shadow. Not because you're a threat, but because you're ascending. And ascension leaves footprints even in the circuits of your phone. Chosen one. The glitches aren't warnings, they're confirmations. You're stepping into a level that technology can't hide anymore. Number 5. You exploded the box they tried to shove you into. The moment you stop needing their approval, you become their problem. Chosen one, you didn't just level up, you outgrew the cage they designed to keep you predictable. And nothing terrifies a system more than someone who no longer fits the mold. They never feared your future money. Money is replaceable, but a mind that thinks for itself. A spirit that refuses control. A person who stops asking for permission. That's danger. That's disruption. That's sovereignty. And sovereignty is the one thing the system can't program, purchase, or pacify. Imagine this. A bird raised in a tiny cage, suddenly realizing the door was never locked. The moment it steps out, the entire room panics. Not because the bird is violent, but because it was never supposed to discover its wings. That's you. You weren't supposed to see your worth. You weren't supposed to question their rules. You weren't supposed to rise this fast, this quietly, or this far outside the boundaries they set for you. You stopped surviving and started ascending. And the system can't track ascension the way it tracks obedience. Maybe you're wondering, why does it feel like the world shifted the second I did? Because it did. Your name is circulating in places you've never walked. Your energy is echoing in rooms you've never entered. When someone cracks their old identity and steps into their real power, they stop being background noise and become a signal. And signals get noticed. Signals get studied. Signals get feared. Imagine a chessboard. Everyone expects the pawns to move one square at a time. But suddenly, one pawn starts thinking like a queen. It's no longer predictable. It's no longer controllable. It's no longer playing the game they planned. Every piece on the board freezes, not because the pawn is dangerous, but because it changed roles without asking. That's exactly what you did. You stopped playing small. You stopped waiting to be chosen. You stopped needing validation from people who never saw your value. Your rise wasn't expected, but it's happening anyway. And that's what rattles them. Systems are comfortable with chaos. They know how to control that. What they fear is sovereignty, a soul that refuses to bend. Chosen one, you didn't break the cage. You outgrew it so fast that it shattered on its own. And now they're watching the one thing they can't contain. Number 6. Your rise wasn't approved. That's why they're shaking. Nothing scares a system more than someone who wins without being invited. Chosen one. The reason they're panicking is simple. You rose without their blueprint, without their mentorship, without their gatekeeping. You weren't molded by their hands. And you don't owe your success to their network. You didn't wait for a nod, a permission slip, a yes. You moved anyway. And nothing terrifies a power structure more than a self-made force that didn't need to be chosen to become chosen. Imagine this. A school designs a test expecting everyone to fail. But one student, silent, unnoticed, aces it without studying their way, without buying their books, without asking for help. The teachers freeze, not because the student cheated, but because the student proved they were never the source of intelligence to begin with. That's what you just did. You exposed how unnecessary their approval always was. You became the move they forgot to guard against. The entire chessboard shifted when you broke formation. Pawns aren't supposed to act like queens. Conditions weren't supposed to sharpen you. Silence wasn't supposed to empower you. Betrayal wasn't supposed to evolve you. They expected you to collapse. Instead, you adapted. You became unpredictable, and the unpredictable can't be controlled. You might be asking yourself, why does it feel like attention spiked the moment I found my footing? because your rise wasn't scripted. You weren't boosted by privilege. You didn't follow their map. You didn't cling to their structure. You walked through darkness alone and somehow came out stronger, smarter, calmer, sharper. That kind of self-forged evolution makes watchers nervous because they can't claim credit or control. Imagine this. A seed grows in a crack of concrete. No gardener, no soil, no approval. Cars pass it, people ignore it, storms hit it, yet it still rises. One day it blooms, and suddenly everyone notices what shouldn't have been able to survive. That's you. Growth where growth wasn't allowed. And now your energy is aligning with wealth. Not because of luck, but because of frequency. You're not built to chase checks. You're built to inherit kingdoms. That shift in vibration, that's what multiplied the watchers. When someone rises without permission, the system doesn't clap. They investigate. Chosen one. They're not panicking because you're dangerous. They're panicking because you proved you never needed them. And that makes you unstoppable. Number 7. This surge didn't come out of nowhere. It was loaded in you. They tried to bury you, but they didn't realize you were the ground shaking beneath them. Chosen one. This shift you're feeling isn't random. It isn't luck. It isn't some cute coincidence the universe tossed your way. It's the return of everything they tried to silence in you. They thought they crushed your potential. They thought they smothered your rise. They thought pushing you down long enough would erase whatever power you carried. They had no clue you were pressure-built, not privilege-built. They thought they buried your future. They didn't know they planted it. You're not experiencing a miracle. You're experiencing activation. Some people rise out of nowhere. You're rising out of everything they tried to destroy. And maybe you're thinking, why does this feel so big? Why does it feel like something ancient is waking up inside me? Because your evolution didn't start today. It started the moment life first tried to break you and failed. Every setback stored data. Every betrayal stored fuel. Every downfall stored strategy. You've been collecting strength in layers people never saw. What's happening now is the surge. The moment when everything you endured flips into everything you become. Imagine this. A dormant volcano sits in silence for decades. Everyone forgets it exists. They build cities around it, joke about how harmless it looks, treat it like scenery. Then one day, a tiny rumble shakes the ground. A soft crack forms, heat rises, the world panics. They never considered it dangerous because it stayed quiet. But silence was never weakness. It was gathering. That's you. Your random shift is the eruption they never prepared for. The system tracks numbers, but the universe tracks the ones who refuse to break. What's happening to you now isn't new. It's the continuation of a pattern they couldn't cancel. You're rising with the strength of every version of you that survived what should have ended you. Your wealth isn't luck. It's alignment. It's recognition. It's payback for all the times you kept moving when everything tried to stop you. Imagine a house with old wiring. For years, it sits dark, unused, ignored. Then someone flips one switch, and the entire grid lights up brighter than it ever did before. That's what your energy did. You flipped, you activated, you lit up senses in places you never knew existed. The system noticed, the universe responded. And maybe you're wondering, why me? Why now? Because you finally became too strong to suppress, to manipulate, too aligned to derail. You stepped into your natural frequency, and that frequency carries power, wealth, clarity, and influence. Not because of your past, but because of your growth through it. You're not becoming someone new. You're becoming the version of yourself they hoped would never wake up. Your rise is the echo of everything you survived. Your shift is the signal that your old limits have expired. Your glow is the proof that nothing they tried worked. And this new level, it was always waiting for you, chosen one. This isn't random. This is restoration. And they can't stop what's already been activated. Number 8. You're not just you anymore. You're a walking fortune they can't break into. People don't chase humans, they chase value. And right now, you're worth more than their whole system. Chosen one, you need to understand what you've become. You're not just a person moving through life. You're a vault with a heartbeat, a mobile treasury, a walking signal of incoming power. They don't track you because of your smile, your past, or your personality. They track you because of what you carry now. Potential, influence, wealth, alignment, and a destiny that could flip an entire grid upside down. When destiny upgrades you, you stop being a name and start being an asset. And maybe you've felt it. People looking at you differently, acting strange, treating you like you're holding something they can't quite define. That's because you are. You've become currency in motion. Not the cheap kind that disappears with one bad choice, but the kind that changes the whole environment when it enters a room. Imagine this. A truck carries regular cargo. Nobody cares. But the second it carries gold, every satellite, every camera, every sensor locks onto it. Nothing changed except the cargo. That's you. Your cargo upgraded. Your vibration got expensive. Your alignment got rare. Your energy became something systems track, people study, and enemies crave. You're not paranoid, you're protected. You might wonder, why does my calm threaten people? Why does my silence attract attention? Because vaults don't talk. Vaults don't brag. Vaults don't explain. Vaults are silent, self-contained, sealed, and heavily guarded. And that stillness, it scares those who want access to what you carry but have no right to it. Imagine a vault door, heavy, cold, unmovable. People don't fear the door, they fear what's behind it. That's you. Your power is internal. Your value is hidden. Your transformation is locked tight behind layers nobody can decode. And let's be real, power attracts everything. Opportunity, loyalty, jealousy, predators. Some will respect your rise because they see the discipline behind it. Some will fear you because they can't predict your next move. And some will try to get close, not for you, but for what they think they can extract. Guard what's sacred. Move like a vault, sealed, steady, unshakable. Chosen one, you're no longer someone they can dismiss. You're someone they have to handle with caution, because every step you take now carries the weight of the fortune forming around you. Number 9. They don't fear madness. They fear a soul they can't own. Chaos is predictable. Freedom isn't. And the moment you became self-powered, you became the one thing they can't cage. Chosen one, hear this clearly. The system never feared the loud, the messy, the chaotic. Chaos is easy to control because it burns itself out. It screams, it spirals, it collapses on schedule. What the system fears, what makes it lose sleep, is the quiet one who figures out how to survive without its help. The person who breaks the dependency loop. The person who stops asking for permission. The person who stops needing a leash to function. That's you. You didn't just step out of the cycle. They watched you slice straight through it. You're not dangerous because you're wild. You're dangerous because you're free. Imagine this. A circus lion suddenly remembers it was born in the wild. It stops responding to commands. It stops performing. It stops bowing. The trainers panic, not because the lion is roaring, but because it isn't. A silent lion is the scariest thing in the room. That's you. You stopped reacting. You stopped shrinking. You stopped letting anyone tug the strings attached to your peace. And maybe you've wondered, why did everything shift the moment I started trusting myself? Because the system is built on invisible contracts, emotional dependence, financial dependence, approval dependence. These contracts are how control works. But you broke yours. You walked away from the validation economy. You stopped needing applause to move. You stopped chasing people who drained you. You stopped surrendering your choices to guilt and pressure. That kind of independence can't be quantified, and that's why it terrifies structures built on control. Imagine this. A prisoner stands in an unlocked cell for years. One day they finally push the door and realize it was open the whole time. That step outside isn't chaos, it's clarity. And clarity is rebellion. You're no longer operating on their timing, their rules, or their expectations. You became self-authorized, self-guided, and self-owned. They don't fear destruction, they fear sovereignty. You're not chaotic, you're precise, you're aware, you're operating on your own frequency now. And a free mind, a stable heart, and a self-powered spirit. That combination is a threat to any system built on keeping people small. Chosen one, you didn't become dangerous. You became uncontrollable. And that's why they're afraid. Number 10, they never feared your money. They feared your blueprint. A rich follower is harmless. A rich builder is a threat. Chosen one, understand this with your whole chest. The system has never been scared of wealth. It prints money, it circulates money, it manipulates money. Money doesn't intimidate structures designed to control it. What does intimidate them is when someone like you gets money and refuses to bow. When someone like you gains power and doesn't ask for permission. When someone like you rises and doesn't use that rise to feed their agenda. Wealth in the hands of the obedient keeps the world quiet. Wealth in the hands of the independent shakes the whole grid. Maybe you've felt it lately, the shift in the air the moment you started thinking beyond survival. That's because fortune was never the end game for you. It was the starting point. The world panics not when you collect money, but when you start building with it. When you start thinking in terms of creation instead of consumption. When you stop being a passenger and become an architect. Imagine this. Anyone can buy bricks, but only the ones with vision build kingdoms. The system doesn't care if you have bricks stacked in your room. It cares when you start laying them, when you start drawing plans, when you start carving your initials into a foundation that doesn't belong to them. They were never intimidated by your earnings. What truly unsettled them was your ability to stand on your own. And maybe you've felt it too. The closer you get to real stability, the more it feels like something is watching, measuring, reacting. Because stability doesn't stay simple. It turns into strategy. Strategy grows into influence. Influence becomes impact. And impact eventually becomes something far bigger than you. Something like a legacy. And that's where the discomfort begins for those who once felt in control. You're not just accumulating wealth. You're stepping into the role of someone who opens doors for others, reshapes old narratives, and breaks limits that were passed down for generations. That transformation is what they never prepared for. Think of it like this. A seed is never a threat, but a tree with deep roots pushing through stone will always force the ground to give way. They never worried about you when you were small and unseen. They worry now because you're taking hold of everything beneath the surface. They can feel the shift, even if they won't admit it. The balance is changing. The structure is no longer stable. The control they once relied on is starting to slip, and the truth they'll never voice is simple. It's not your success they fear. It's what your success awakens in others. Because once one person becomes independent, it creates permission for others to do the same. Confidence spreads, ownership expands, and a single shift outside the system can quietly challenge the entire structure. And you're not moving quietly. You're building with direction, with clarity, with a vision that doesn't wait for approval. You stopped looking for opportunities because you started creating them. You stopped waiting for permission because you started designing your own space. Chosen one, your strength was never handed to you by circumstance. It was shaped by your mindset, by your vision, by your refusal to shrink or surrender. And that is exactly why what you're building next carries so much weight. And if you've reached this point, you already understand what's happening. You're stepping into a level that was never designed to contain you, and the momentum around you is already in motion. What's meant for you is already aligning. Your path is set, your awareness is rising, and your energy is becoming more intentional each day. Stay grounded, stay focused, and move with purpose in everything you do.